friends, and thank you for joining us for another episode of Fort Worth Roots. You can find us on all your favorite streaming services, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, whatever, or you can get us on our website at fortworthroots.com. On social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all the stuff. It's just Fort Worth Roots. We also have a YouTube channel. All these episodes have a corresponding video attached to them. You just look for Fort Worth Roots on your YouTube app. If this is your first time visiting the Fort Worth Roots podcast, thank you for being here. This is the portion of the show where we go into our announcements. And since we've been doing this for a while and we've been engaging with the community, these notes are getting longer and longer, but we will start the episode soon. So first off, let me tell you about our sponsors. We're very excited to have sponsors because this means we can do cooler stuff for you, including the September 10th event at Pouring Glory. I'll tell you about that in a second. Our sponsors, starting with Roofing Solutions by Darren Houk, roofingsolutionshouk.com, and he just sent me a text message a couple days ago informing me of a deal that he's going to do for all of our Fort Worth Roots podcast listeners. Here's the text straight off the phone. Fort Worth Roots special from Roofing Solutions. Mention Fort Worth Roots for a special price on our roofing tune-up. This is something I've been talking about over the past few episodes. This is just to give them an invitation to your home. Check out your roof. Make sure nothing crazy is going on. They'll seal the pipes. I'm getting off topic here. 50% off for the roofing tune-up. Limited time only, it says here. Roofing Solutions will seal all pipes and vents and anything else that comes out of the roof. Inspect the entire roof, checking for excess wear, storm damage, pulled nails. Minor repairs will be done during the inspection. If we find a larger problem that cannot be done for the advertised price, we'll stop, call the homeowner, and advise what needs to be done. New roof, larger repair, call insurance company, etc. At that time, if the homeowner does not want to move forward with any additional cost, the work stops unless you tell them to go forward with that. In other words, if we can't repair it for what we agreed upon, we'll stop, and you'll owe nothing additional without giving us permission to move forward. I kind of said that twice. That's okay. All right, go to roofingsolutionshouk.com to see the entire selection of services that they offer. Folks, the reason that we're so glad to have these people on as a sponsor is not just because they're sponsoring the show, but because we have kind of aligned ourselves with the industry leader in the North Texas area with one of the best roofers that you could ask for. Don't take my word for it. Check out their ratings. Look at the reviews online. It's Roofing Solutions by Darren Houk. And you can call them at 817-882-6520. Our next sponsor is Houk Walker Originals. Anything that you need to be customized for your home or your office or that little side gig project you got. You need your name on a cup. You need some custom pins and many, many different things. They are extremely creative people, and they've got the know-how and the skill to make something that's going to look great in your home or set you aside from your competitors. Check them out, houkwalker.com. Woodpost Metalworks. You can go to Woodpost Metalworks and get 10% off with code podcast817. Custom metalwork. They also do things for your home and your office. They can do gate repairs and custom gates for your fences, custom fences. And one of the signs they just did, and I cannot remember the name of the company, but it's on our Fort Worth Roots Facebook page. We shared it, and what they did is a very, very elegant metal sign for a local business. And they could have gotten 10% off if they'd have used code podcast817. They probably wish they had have listened to the show now, knowing that. But anyway, it's a very elegant sign. They do amazing work. And the thing I keep telling people about is a grill they've got on their website that I want desperately bad. It says United States Marine Corps, and it's got all this custom artwork to it. And the way they've got it photographed with the flames coming through the holes in the metal just looks really cool. Anyway, go check them out. woodpostmetalworks.com. A big thank you to all of our sponsors. You guys are putting Fort Worth Roots in a position where we can do more cool stuff. And I mentioned this a minute ago. Our September 10th event is getting bigger and bigger, and there are more things coming out as we move closer to the date. We've only got 2.5 weeks to prepare for this thing now. And I'm excited and nervous, and I really want you to come to this thing. This is our big thank you event. All of our listeners that have gotten Fort Worth Roots to the place that it's at now, this is to say thank you, because every single time you stream an episode of Fort Worth Roots, it shows up on our analytics, and it makes it easier for us to reach more people inside the Fort Worth area and beyond. So thank you for listening, and you can come get your big thank you at Pouring Glory, September 10th. This event is from 1 to 6, and it's going to be a great show. We've got Late to the Station, local band that's going to be playing for you live on stage at the outdoor stage. We also have an acoustic set that's going to be playing indoor from a couple of the bands that will be playing on the outdoor stage. The Gray with Max Cusin, Itchy Richie and the Burning Sensations will be our third band. And then to tie it all off, we have side-splitting funny local comedian, Kate Greathouse. It's going to be a great show. It's free to the public. You don't have to spend a dime. We do encourage you to take advantage of the $3 beer that's going to be on special at Pouring Glory for this event. Compliments of the owner, Scott, who wants to make sure that this is a huge success. We also have a vendor market. Compliments of Mickey Wendell with the Artful Village. She is going to be putting on a pop-up market for us. I can't remember how many vendors are going to be there, but you'll just have to show up and find out. And it's going to be excellent. She made sure that these vendors and what they're selling, their products, made sense to go along with the show. And I'm not sure what that means, but there's going to be cool stuff there. And like I said, free event, but there will be grab bags at the door. So you'll already have a grab bag in your hand with some stuff that we're going to include in there for you. And with that bag, you can go through the pop-up market and stuff it full of other awesome stuff from our creative community here in the Fort Worth area. So come on out. Also, for any of you that are promoting the event with me, I've got a lot of really awesome people that are helping me put this event together and promoting it so that it's a success. We do have new flyers. These flyers are bigger than the original ones that we cut with all the information for the event. They are available for you to pick up at Pouring Glory if you'd like to pass some of those out at work or your church or whatever, wherever it is that you hang out with people. So you can pick those up there. We also have some 8x11 posters, same as the flyers, just more bigger, and you can put them on doors and stuff. But anyway, that's available for you at Pouring Glory. Stop by, get a burger, and then walk out of there with a few of these flyers to share with your homies. You can also pick them up at the new brick and mortar location for the Fort Worth Roots studio. Our new studio is located in River Oaks. Hit me up. I'll give you an address. You can come by, pick some up if that address is a little closer to you. All right, that's enough of the announcements. You might have noticed whenever you clicked on this, or right before you clicked on this episode, that it said something to the effect of adult advisory or language warning or something like that. Haven't decided how I'm going to put that on there yet, but we do have episodes where an excessive amount of language is used, and this happens to be one of them. This is our good friend. He's been on the show now 4 times, and he has just returned from a 500-mile walk across Spain. You heard that correctly. 500 miles on foot across Spain. Incredible. This is part of the This is part of the El Camino de Santiago, or the Way of St. James, and he's done this twice now. While he was gone, he sent me a postcard from Spain, and I am in the middle of a big move with the office and with my personal space, so I am trying to find this daggum postcard. But this is the first time I've had a chance to sit down with our guest since he got back, and I got to thank him for the postcard, and we also did a phone call with him. And I can't remember which episode this is, but we did the phone call while he was in Spain, and I got to talk to him very briefly. Our timetable kind of lined up. I think I had to get up at like 2 o'clock in the morning or something like that. Anyway, the previous episode with Joe Savage has that recording on there, and it was a really fun episode. This one is equally fun, if not more funner, because we get into some neighbor discrepancies, some domestic disputes involving the police officers, and just general shenanigans. We really did want to break down the entire El Camino de Santiago, and we did. To a point. But we also get into just life and talking about where Joe's headed with his musical career and a bunch of other squirrel chasing moments. This was just a great opportunity to sit down with a friend and catch up. I hope you enjoy listening to this episode as much as we did recording it. It's always a great time hanging out with this dude. You can catch him each and every Tuesday at Eagles Point Bar and Grill in Saginaw, and every Sunday 6 to 10 out at Eagles Point at West Bay. That's part of Eagle Mountain Lake, out there on the Azle side. It's a nice little spot, and I hear they have amazing food. You can find our guest on Linktree at Joe F.N. Savage. That's enough talking out of me. Thank y'all for being here. Give it up for my good friend Joe Savage. Let's start the show. Joe Savage in Granbury, Texas, sitting on the edge of the lake. This is a cool little spot. Oh, by the way, your HOA is probably looking for me right now. I tried to use the whatever swing arm thing where I put my ID in. It didn't do anything.
Oh, no.
So I sat there for a minute. I knocked on the shack. Nobody was there. So I just went around the swing arm. So there's some video footage of me at the guard shack breaking the laws.
Perks of having a motorcycle.
Yeah. Well, I told the guy behind me, I was like, I don't know, man. I don't care. I'm just going to go around the swing arm. He's like, okay. Because he's in a big-ass truck. He's got to deal with that shit. Yeah.
Well, somebody would get on there eventually. I'll put your name on my list. It's a pain in the ass, but I don't mind it. I like people sweating a little bit when they come over.
You have kind of an untraditional property, and it's sandwiched in between all these really nice homes. So it's a good community, and it looks like you got lake access too.
Yeah. I've got a couple of marinas inside the HOA, and then also I can even put a kayak in 200 yards right there.
Just drag it over there?
Yeah, if I wanted to, But
you have a kayak?
No, I don't.
You should get one.
I don't go on the lake.
Dude, I bought a little 8.5 foot Coleman kayak. This ugly, orange, fat, just badly... It's just not a great kayak. But I probably put in 500 miles of kayaking out there at, what is that, Lake Worth?
Oh, nice,
right there by the base.
Yeah, cool.
Because I was on the base, and I'd get off work, and I would just go out there. They have a nice little sandy beach. Probably the nicest part of Lake Worth, actually.
Yeah.
Nobody has access to it except for the military base. And I would launch from there, and I'd go all the way out to Goat Island.
Oh, no, Goat Island. Did you ever see the goat out there?
No, I think somebody ate him by the time I got there.
Oh, nice.
He's gone.
Good. Well, we used to go out to Mosk Point, which is on the lake, too. Mosk Point, you can see Goat Island. And Mosk Point's like a public pavilion off of
under the bridge?
Under the bridge there by Lake Worth. Right when you're leaving Lake Worth, you take that last exit. It's Quebec or something.
Yeah.
Anyways, you go up to Mosk Point, MOSQUE, Mosk Point.
That whole area is pretty interesting, but it's not much of a lake. It's kind of shallow. It's not, I don't know. And the water's filthy, so.
Yeah, and people don't swim in Lake Worth.
No.
But yeah, we used to tell ghost stories about Goatman, the Goatman Island. So yeah.
So there was actually a goat out there.
No, it's like some creepy guy or something. It's like ghost story, or a horror story or whatever. Goatman's supposed to be like a killer.
Oh.
Yeah. And it comes and feasts on the humans and then retreats to the island again or something,
Is that the whole story? Is there like
Matthew Burrell's song, right? I'm the monster by the lake.
Is that what it's about?
It's inspired by the Goatman, yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
He never told me that. Yeah, I think he actually sang it on the show.
Yeah, you would know. It's pretty lore-y. If you're living around Lake Worth your whole life, you know about Goatman, and everyone, all children have said they would one day take a kayak out there, and and confront this entity.
So like, there's a trash can out there, like
go out there and camp, right?
A city,
yeah,
ran thing. I guess I don't know. Like somebody's taking care of it.
I think you can go out there and camp, right?
Well, whenever I would go there, there's not a lot of flat space. Like it's just very grown up. Like there's trees and there's no flat space.
Yeah.
And wherever there is flat space, it's rocks and thorns, and it's just not a great camping spot.
Yeah.
So I don't see a lot of utility for that island.
Yeah.
Currently, but they're always out there doing shit with it, and you would think that somebody would try to do something, pretty it up a bit, make it usable.
Yeah.
And now there's a new bridge going in over there. And
going to Azle?
Yeah, running alongside 199, and they're about halfway done putting the cross sections across it. So it's going together really fast. And I think what they're planning on doing is connecting that section of 199 directly to 820. So like you won't have to get on any of those surface roads.
Right. I hope they keep the little bridge.
I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
Why would you take that apart?
I don't. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of dumb shit going on. That's what I was thinking driving over it. I was like, this would be awesome if we have both of them.
Yeah.
But it would not be cool if we only got the one.
Surely they will.
Surely they have to. I mean, especially if that one's going to connect right to 820. I didn't know that.
Because traffic through there has gotten so insane. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I think they're getting ahead of it sooner than they had to. Like I think they're kind of ahead of the ball here.
They are, and I lived in Azle growing up, and they started all that construction as you go from Lake Worth to Azle. all that started when I was a child. The widening of the highways and the space for bigger lanes. So they'll have 6 lanes going to Azle soon enough. You know, they already have, it's already 8 or 4, right? 2 and 2.
Yeah, I think so. And the entire time I lived over in like North Fort Worth, off of Boat Club Road, it was under construction. You had to drive on the service roads because they were doing all that new shit.
Oh, there's that highway
and
access
now it's open.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Right there in Saginaw by the Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I play over there every Tuesday.
The whole area is changing a lot. And like Arlington was the first, I guess, like me growing up and watching a community change. My parents lived in a house in South Arlington, and used to, south of I-20, there wasn't shit.
Yeah.
And now it is. It's a city, dude.
Yeah.
Apartments and shops and businesses. And
yeah.
It's wild to watch all the changes.
Yeah. I lived off Matlock there at Windcastle, Matlock and I-20. So my first apartments getting out of Saginaw was in Park Row in Arlington. And then me and my brother shared a place, and then I moved up to South Arlington.
My first apartment in DFW was off of 360 in Arlington, just north of the, what is that? I think it's Green Oaks and 360.
Yeah.
And it was just... So when I moved from Abilene, I had I think I was paying $385 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment, and they were okay. They were decent. It was not a bad neighborhood. And then so when I moved up here and started looking around, I found some apartments off of 360 in Green Oaks, and they wanted $650 a month, and I'm going, shit.
Yeah,
this is going to be fancy. $650 a month. These must be really nice apartments.
Yeah.
And I just bought myself a brand new Harley, and I think it was a 2011, and I had it parked outside in the parking lot, and I'm going to work. It's like 4 a.m. and I come out. I've got all my motorcycle gear on because it's cold, so I've got my jacket, I've got my chaps on, I've got my helmet, and I come walking out of the apartment, and I can't find my bike.
Oh shit.
And I walk up and down this row in the parking lot. Like, where did I park? I walked up and down the parking lot like 4 or 5 times until I finally went, oh my God, somebody stole my bike.
Yeah.
So anyway, it wasn't a good neighborhood. And then right after that, I started noticing like people walking around with ankle monitors. And then about a week after my bike got stolen, I got a notice on my door that's, from the Fort Worth Police Department. This is Detective so-and-so. We just want to let you know that your neighbor was murdered last night.
Yeah. Holy shit.
If you have any information, please give me a call.
Yeah.
That kind of shit.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, yeah, $650 a month does not mean I'm in a good neighborhood.
Yeah.
But if you went left or right of those apartment complexes, there were like multi-million-dollar homes.
Yeah.
It was so weird.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. That was my introduction to DFW.
What year was that?
It was probably 2011 because I remember the bike was a 2011.
Nice. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, man. I had a fucking moped stolen too out of a $950 apartment over here on
that's super fancy.
Brian Irving, yeah. That was when I really...
Who sells a moped? What a dick.
They found it and it was all chopped up and painted and had weird stickers on it.
They found it?
They found it.
How did they find it?
I pulled this bitch over on the side of the road. Her girlfriend said, the lady said her boyfriend bought it for her, but I got pictures of it. I posted on Facebook during the whole thing, and like they stole it out of my apartment complex. It was parked there by my door.
So you found somebody running around with this thing?
I didn't find them.
Oh,
the police found them.
Okay.
The police.
Yeah.
They for me is the police.
Yeah.
The authorities.
Yeah.
Yeah, the authorities found them, and returned the bike to me. And then the bike was worthless. But so I sold it to a guy in Nashville, Tennessee. He bought it for $500 because he wanted the little engine out of it to put on something else. So he paid for the fucking thing to come get picked up, and it was worth it for me. It was some kind of collector guy, so it wasn't a total loss. I think but
I'm just surprised that they found it, because whenever I talked to the cops, because I called them after I'd walked up and down the parking lot several times going where I parked my bike. I called the cops, and I'm all distressed. How old was I? I was probably 24, 25 years old, something like that. And I'm talking to the cops, or the dispatcher, whoever I'm talking to on the phone, and I'm giving her my information. And towards the end of the call, I go, well, when will you be sending an officer out? And she's like, honey, what do you want him to come look at?
Yeah.
And at that moment, I was like, she's right. There's nothing here. Like, what are we gonna do? Stare at an empty parking spot?
Yeah, they came out,
but they didn't find shit. Like I don't even think they looked. Yeah. But yeah, it's just gone.
I don't know how. It's maybe my luck that
That's
I got
pretty
my
wild.
bag, man. But it was such a shocker to my life and my worldview when it happened. I don't know about you, but that feeling of first looking for your car or your vehicle, and
it's gone,
and then trying to blame yourself. Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was. What did I do wrong? And then
why did I park it there?
Someone came and picked this thing up and put it in a truck and took it. Yeah. That was mind blown for me. Like holy shit! And I'm in a nice neighborhood. Well,
and then I'm sure, just like me, you were probably looking at your neighbors like, which one of you motherfuckers?
Yeah. In this same apartment too, not to one up your story too much, but in this same apartment, I got fucking burglarized, and so me and one of my friends, Morgan, who we were songwriting together a lot and hanging out quite a bit, we had been up all night drinking. I go to bed, and Morgan sleeps on the couch, but we don't go to sleep till 2 or 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
And someone came over my balcony into the house, stole Morgan's phone, stole my phone out of my room from next to my head
while you're sleeping.
While I'm sleeping, stole a fucking bag of jewelry. Like I had this bag of like jewelry and coins.
You just had a bag of jewels sitting around.
It was like my keepsake. It was a little Crown Royal bag I had since I was like 18. It had my couple grandma's pendants in there, a bunch of Germany coins from when I lived over there as a kid.
This is starting to sound like somebody you know now.
Yeah, it does. Shit. But I can't because I had gotten my moped robbed.
Yeah.
I just thought, I filed a police report and stuff. And anyways, none of that ever came back, and that was a bummer. But that was the same apartment complex where I was paying $950 a month, and I thought, Brian Irving and I-20, $950 a month. I'm going to push myself as a musician to be able to afford this, and I will live in fucking peace, and quality. Yeah. And the same kind of overall, it was like, well, no. I'm getting all my stuff stolen here.
Man, that's got to be a whole different feeling. I mean, getting your vehicle stolen is one thing, but like somebody coming into your home, you're there while it happens, no less.
Still eerie about it.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still bothered by it because I sleep with my phone like right by my head.
Yeah.
To someone who's ballsy enough to come in and take my phone while I'm asleep, it's crazy.
I like to think that there's no way I would sleep that hard. But who knows?
Yeah, I don't sleep that hard. I mean, I sleep, but it's just a mystery to me. There he is. A little Dexter.
Where the hell did he come from?
He's got a little door over there.
Baxter?
Dexter. Yeah.
Hi, baby.
Dexter's laboratory.
Oh, you're friendly.
Yeah, he's a good boy.
Oh, man.
He's got a good life. But yeah, living out here for the cat and for me, I didn't expect so many peaceful and calming amenities to this place. There's a lot of stuff I don't like, small town culture, but you can engage in it as you like, but I told you a little bit about my neighbor.
We should go into that because that's a wild ass story. Can we put that on recording?
Sure.
All right, so you've got this old military vet, and he's just living out his life, and
who's also became a professor later in his life and opened a couple of skilled trade colleges.
So a stand-up dude.
Seems legit to me. Paid cash for that.
And you've talked to him. You like the guy?
Yes.
Nice dude.
Most definitely.
Okay. And then enters the neighbor into the story.
Yeah. Like they both, the neighbor, they went to pay their taxes the first year. We all moved out here within a month of each other. All three of the parties involved. I moved out September 2020. They both came out in October of 2020. And so for the listener, I live on a corner lot, and then there's a vacant lot next to me, and then there's 2 lots that this guy, Lee, bought, the veteran, and then there's 3 lots that this woman bought. We do not speak her name around here. And anyways, on Christmas, fucking 2020, she goes to pay her taxes and found out there's a clerical error, which should be handled by title insurance, right? I mean, Lee paid cash for his property. There should be, and so did she, as far as I knew. I've got a mortgage, so I haven't seen my title, but they they both
might want to check on that now.
Well, no, I have it's a what is it called? Not a quick deed, but a warranty deed.
Okay,
it's all good. There's only been 2 owners on this piece.
Nice.
But anyways, I'm in good shape as long as I make my payments. But anyhow, they both paid cash, and they should they should see there's title insurance. That's what it's for. You have a clerical error, you can sue the title insurance. The title insurance has to pay a certain sum, so maybe buy one of the lots from one of them, right, or whatever. So it's all can be handled in a civil manner. The property that she accidentally realized that she owned, but due to the clerical error, is actually worth more than the property she bought and was satisfied with.
Yeah.
Because it has amenities on it and its utilities like a septic tank. So she calls the sheriff and has this 7-year-old man evicted from that property, and he had just finished putting all his things in his shed. He'd been here 2 months. So the cops made him unload his fucking shed and put all that stuff back on his property because she had the paperwork. And they stood there and the neighbors, everyone stood there and watched, including the police, and no one could do anything about it. And that was December 2020. So Lee was a super stand-up guy about it. I was not, but Lee was like, I'll handle this in court. No big deal, blah, blah, blah. And he lives 6 months up north and then 6 months down here. He comes back in October.
Yeah.
And then he leaves in March or something, And, oh my God. So I go out there and I'm yelling at him like, what the hell? It's Christmas. This guy's an old man. And they're like, mind your business. Mind your business. There's like a flock of them out there. And so anyways, things die down for a year or so, but not completely. This lady tortures everybody on our street. There's another veteran named Woodman who lives across from Lee.
Woodman sounds dangerous. I don't think I'd mess with him.
Yeah, Woodman is dangerous. He
called it.
He sells wood everywhere. He chops his wood up. When you leave today, as you pass by Tommy's, there's a sign that says Woodman. It has his number. And he sells firewood to everybody. But he's also a veteran and has a little PTSD for sure, and is a bit of a drinker. But she's cussed him too and got him all riled up. She can cause one of these men to have a heart attack out here one day. She is just a crazy, crazy lady who just gets off on poison, So they finally signed this agreement to transfer the properties back. Sorry to make the story so long.
No, it's good. It's a good story.
Cool. So this just happened. So this is an update. We have nothing happening for almost a year. Lee comes down for his 2021, 6 months, works on his property, keeps doing what he can with that one. Meanwhile, she won't do anything with this property. We've all cleaned up every lot on this fucking street except for that one. And she's got 2 felled trees, one on the fence, one leaning on the shed. No one will make her do anything. It's so crazy. We're not allowed to have our lots like that, but she can have this lot like that because it's under litigation. Nobody enforces anything. So please come out here again. Recently, just like last week, I see the sheriff out there and I go out and I'm like, what is going on? But earlier in the morning, I seen Lee messing around on the lot, and I looked over the fence and I was like, Lee, did you get your lot back? What are you doing over there? You're gonna get the cops called on you. He's like, oh yeah, we signed everything. I'm like, what are you doing here anyways? You're not supposed to be back till October. And he's like, well, I flew down because we signed the agreement. I have to clean the lot, and then I'll have possession of this lot again. So he's taking all his lumber and things that he's doing, moved it from the lot that he got when she took possession of his lot due to the clerical error. She calls the cops on him. So the cops show up, make him get off. Now all his lumber's already over there. She waited till he cleaned her lot completely. So then the cops leave and she pulls up and backs her fucking truck into the lot and starts loading his lumber into her fucking pickup. So Lee freaks out. I'm not here for this. I had left for all this. I went to the grocery store. And then when I get back, the cops follow me from because they're coming here.
Yeah.
And they just happen to be behind me at the last stoplight. So they follow me the 5 miles or 3 miles or whatever it is.
You're 10 and 2. I'm
like, what is happening? And then I make my turn onto my street and they turn with me. And then they park right behind me because Lee's in my yard. And I'm just like, Lee, what is happening here? Like, what are you doing? And she's stealing his lumber, but there's nothing anybody can do about it. So the cops... Lee had blocked her in with his truck. So his truck's blocking her drive with her truck stealing his lumber, and he's standing in my driveway. And I come back with 2 fucking SUV sheriffs. Because cops can't come out here. This is sheriff only,
Looks like Joe showed up with the cavalry.
Yeah, it did kind of. That was cool. And they parked in front of my place. And they're always like, it gets better. I didn't tell you this part yet. So anyways, that all happens. They leave, and she just stays out there and pretends to steal that lumber all day. Never takes it. Just tortures anybody who walks out, which I'm one of them. I'm like, what are y'all doing out here? Why are the cops keep coming out here?
Mind your business.
Yeah, no, they come over and they just and I buy right in, and finally we're exploding, and like this one lady who lives over here is elderly as well, and her husband
across the main road.
Yeah, and her husband walks around. Yeah, across the main road. Her husband walks around my block every morning, and I talk to him a lot, and I thought we were cool. But she goes, "I will have you arrested right now," and I was like, "For what?" "For growing marijuana in your building." And I was like, "What?" Like, I was like, "Would you like to come in and see it?" "No, I will not go in there." I was like, "Just go in. I go in and check it out and dispel your lies." Like, and Tina, who will remain nameless, damn it, that neighbor, the crazy lady's just laughing and like almost biting her fingernails, looking at me like, "Gotcha, bitch. You know, I fucking told everybody you're growing weed in your shed." So I try to be reasonable, and I'm like, "This could easily be taken care of. Come take a look inside my shed, you know."
Nothing there.
And I will not go in there. "Why won't you go in there?" "Because you'll trap me in there." And I was like, "Lady, I'm not going to trap you in there." I was like, "You're my neighbor." And I was like, "I'll just stand back. It's unlocked. Go on in." And she's like, "I will not." So she walks back home. I get dressed, put on nice clothes, take a shower, go over there and try to talk to her husband, because I've seen him many mornings.
Yeah.
They don't answer. I come back over here, and they're all three walking down towards me now. And Lee's gone. Lee went to McKinney to get his children to come out here and help him.
Die.
So I go up, and I'm like, "I'd like to invite all three of you into my apartment, my shed right now." And this lady, Tina, is not allowed to come down here because she brandished a weapon in front of my house in her pocket. I've got it on video. You can't see that it's a weapon, so we couldn't enforce it.
Jesus, Joe.
But this happened in December 2020, so it's on record with the sheriff. And I've got my sign out there that says I'm armed, and so it's right to, I've never thought I'd be this guy, but like, I'm proclaiming my right to stand my ground, So anyways, they all come down. They're coming down. I'm like, "Go ahead and take a look." And Tina flips out. She's like, "No, take this drug test. I'll go get drug tests." And, and I'm like, "I'll buy that lot right now from you. $10,000 cash. Leave me alone. Go get your drug test." So she comes flying down the road with these drug tests. And the other lady.
This is so fucking wild.
Then the elderly couple, they're losing it. The old man's pushed me and poked me and is about to have a heart attack. And I'm just ducking my head. He's not reasonable at all.
And this is happening right out here?
This is happening right out here. And he's like, "I walk by and smell your marijuana every morning." And I was like, "Sir, walk another path." I was like, that's how the drug test came up. I was like, "It's CBD." I was like, "You can buy it at Tommy's right up the street." And they're like, "It's not CD. I'm an old hippie. I know the difference in the smell." And I'm like, "No, you don't, because Supreme Court said you can't smell it anymore." It's crazy. And I was like, "As one Christian man to another, go in there and look." And he's like, "I will not trespass on your property." Oh my God,
man, this is crazy.
Next morning, I'm sitting out front, and I got my little orange pistol case, but it has cameras in it. I got a home protection gun, but I don't ever take it out, or I would never sit out there. But I know what the orange cases make people think. So I'm sitting out having my coffee and my spliff in the morning on the porch, and here he comes with his wife in their truck driving by, and I just opened up my little orange case. It's got my camera gear in there, and they sped on. They ain't been back, but I don't want to be scared of this person. He lives right over there. You can see his house from where you're sitting. But anyways,
damn, dude. I mean, I don't know that I've ever heard like neighborhood drama bullshit like that before. That's next level.
There's nothing we could do about it because there's so much contingency with the HOA.
What do you mean?
There was a big lawsuit. They upped the dues, and there's a few owners who own hundreds of properties in here.
Yeah.
And so upping their dues. My dues are $18 a year. That's what it says in the bylaws.
$18?
$18.
Damn.
$1.50 a month for these are all RV lots.
Yeah.
And as growth happened in DFW, these became homes, but these used to be where all the rich houses stored their boats and RVs and shit like that. Yeah. Right. So now I live here, you know, and so do all these, there's hundreds of us. So there might be 1,000 lots like this, because this whole street behind us goes on, and it's all little small. These are like 1/10 of an acre lots. This is a 2,500 square foot lot.
Yeah.
And
well, when you were telling me like your living situation, like RV, and then I've got this studio, and I'm trying to imagine it, but I never could have imagined it like this. Like it's a really nice area. It's a great neighborhood.
Nice.
And it's a cool little setup. And I don't know, it feels very warm and welcoming. And I never would have thought there'd be that kind of drama just rolling up, you know?
Otherwise, it's fine, you know. That's what I meant when I was telling you.
Other than that, yeah.
I've learned where should I engage, you know? Like, where should I not engage? Like, what's worth it to me? Like, by engaging with her again this time, even though she was stealing that man's wood and did this whole charade with signing the papers and had the cops out here, that's bullshit. I mean, you can't steal your neighbor's property, and you can't manipulate him into moving the property into an area where you can steal it from them and then use police to enforce it. It's like unbelievably insane, and I feel justified in having got involved as little effect as I made, like just to allow her to know, like, I'm not going to stand by and watch you torture this person, and even if it costs me, you know. And it did cost me. I got another neighbor that hates me now.
Well, and I have that. I'm afflicted by that same instinct. Like, you see something that's wrong, and you got to do something about it. You know, you can't just stand there.
Yeah.
I have that problem too. It gets me a lot of shit.
I've learned from Lee, though, the man who's actually the victim, you know, and he always just keeps saying, he gets a little mad because she calls him a pedophile, and she does a lot of really defaming things against both of us. Now that I know about we're in a homeowner association. It's nice as fuck. If anybody was growing fucking weed out here, hell would rain down on them. You know, I mean, you wouldn't be out here doing it for long. I called the sheriff because I'm on a first name basis with him because of this lady, and I'm like, look, man,
it's Joe again.
You can come out here and search anytime you like, sir, on a peaceful manner. I was like, please do not raid me. Like, I do not.
Let's not escalate this shit. Just come take a look.
Yeah, just take a look. Anytime you call me, I got you, man. And like, you know, if I happen to have a quarter bag of weed, I'll take the ticket.
Yeah.
I'll take the ticket so that I don't have to get raided, so I don't have to be embarrassed, like, so I don't have to be almost shot, or that my cat doesn't get endangered, or any of these things that
it's coming right for us.
When you're a thug, because there are meth users, and that's the sad part about this area.
Yeah.
Is that we get the bad rap as the RV park inside of a nice area, you know what I mean? But everyone who's moved in the last year or two, including me, has cleaned these lots, has brought property value to the situation, including Tina and Lee, who fight and who've caused everybody so much problems, you know?
Yeah.
So overall, things are moving to the better, but in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, this was a meth den. You know, that Diamond D's bar on the way in, it's a terrible spot. But
is now it inside the swing arms?
No, that right outside right across the street from Tommy's, Diamond D's. But now it's nice. They renovated it. It's clean, smells good.
Yeah.
Has a nice patio, can't smoke inside. So it just shows you that things are changing. And you know, if I would have bought this lot when I first thought about living in a camper when I was 18, when I first wanted a piece of property, when I first just wanted something on my own, I could have got this exact place with all the utilities for probably $5,000.
Damn.
I bought it for $32,000.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That's crazy,
But
right?
it's also 20 years later, you know, so it is crazy.
Right down the street from the lake.
Yeah. So
makes sense, I guess. But yeah, property values are insane.
I'm just so fortunate I found this when I did, and that I get the opportunity to pay it off. I don't have good credit, but since I've been working on this, I've also been working on my credit, and I'm just really grateful that everything worked out to where, you know, I can own this property and probably pretty soon. Cut this. Just heard that.
Oh, damn.
Has it been going the whole time?
Yeah, but I've got software. I can edit it out.
Okay.
It's not a problem. Don't burn up.
Yeah. But anyways, it's great out here, man. I'm so fortunate to be here. And
it's a great little spot.
Yeah.
But how does it work for you with you gigging as far up as Eagle Mountain Lake? You play in Denton, too.
Yeah.
Right?
I put 50,000 miles on my vehicle last year.
Holy shit. Damn, dude. That's a lot.
Yeah, and I play in Houston. I play in Salado, in Austin, Waco, Graham, Brownwood, Odessa, Midland.
I guess the travel thing has just never really been an issue for you because you're everywhere.
It's part of it at this point, what I'm doing. This year I see a light at the end of the tunnel now, finally, of not having to travel. I did a couple of my last travels. I went down to Uvalde. You know, just recently, last month, there and back.
That's where that school shooting was, right?
Yeah. I had already had a connection with the town before that, and it's an unfortunate situation. And that's a really interesting town to be in, too, because it's pretty close to the border, you know, and it's really diverse, super awesome. So I liked it, and I went and did the radio show thing again with Robert McGill down there. But I can't really afford to do that stuff anymore. I can't take the wear on my vehicle. You know, I mean, I still owe quite a bit on that fucking car. And I can't be putting 50,000 miles a year on it. You know, it's not going to last. I'll be upside down in it when it breaks down. So, but the light at the end of the tunnel has been, you know, working for Eagles Point. They've been expanding. So now I go to Eagle Mountain. That, you know, that's a reasonable drive. Within an hour, that's what most people in our Metroplex do for their work. They drive about an hour to work. So,
and that's an hour from here?
Eagle Mountain Lake's an hour from here. Burleson's an hour from here. And Saginaw's an hour from here.
Okay.
Hour and 10, hour and 7, you know, something like that.
Kind of right in the middle.
Yeah. But so those 3 gigs now I play every week, and that's just such a blessing. So it's like having a real nice set schedule with a job, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, a little more sporadic, but definitely I'm keeping it as much more local as I can. As DFW grows and the demand for music keeps rising, there aren't enough musicians to cover everything. And so I'm taking advantage of this situation by trying to create residencies for me and for others, you know, with Eagles Point, I help guide their booking, and I just keep telling them we're going to bring Bobby Day in next, and Bobby Day gets all the Sundays, and then Bobby Day gets at least one Friday out at West Bay, you know, so, and then as soon as we expand music at Burleson, he'll get another date there. And then Simone Nicole's our next one we're trying to bring in. We need a female also, you know, but we're also, you know, trying to guide them to do whatever they want. But as long as my input's available, I'm pushing for residencies, you know. And I think it's best for the artist's life, quality of life, mental health, and finances.
Having something you can count on.
Guaranteed gigs, get to know the community. That's one thing that I have undercounted overall with Eagles Point. Aside from the monetary gain and which is just enough to pay my life and stuff, it's not like I'm raking them, you know, and I give them a good deal because they give me 4 gigs a month at each place, which is, you know, 12 gigs or whatever. But the community, they love me. I love them now. You know, they call me their family. I know their servers. I feel like at Saginaw, where I've been the longest, and I'm there every Tuesday, we're a team now. You know, they support me and I support them, and you can see it. And that's always what I want when I go into any of these little local gigs, is that if you piss the bartenders off and the wait staff, kiss that fucking gig goodbye, man. If you make everybody leave and they don't make money, you're gone, you know? Yeah. So it's really a nice feeling to be a part of that corporation or that company, you know? It's
Saginaw on Tuesdays, and then Sundays you're out at West Point, right? Yep. Is that what it is?
West Eagles Point at West Bay.
I think I'm going to
go. It used to be called West Point, but I guess they had to change the title for their restaurant because the restaurant's called Eagles Point. Yeah. So Eagles Point at West Point probably didn't sound as good as Eagles Point at West Bay. Yeah,
and people might think it's like some kind of military academy too. So
but it's really nice out there. Super cool. And the food is amazing. JT's he's a real chef, you know, and that's really what's standing out about his business. And I'm so grateful to be a part of it. Is like, he's not a bar food guy, you know, he's not just shoving out fucking Benny Keith tenders and fries, you know.
Yeah. I think it's West Bay Marina. Is that
West Bay Marina?
Okay. Yeah. We used to have a boat out there on the other side, like almost directly across from it. And West Bay was always kind of the dumpy, kind of crappy spot. But they've updated everything. It looks so much better
as the expansion, because it's by Pelican Bay, and I grew up in Hazelwood.
Right,
I went to school at Liberty School.
Pelican Bay is like, you know, you got Simba and his dad sitting on the hill, and you know, everything the light touches will be yours one day, son.
Yeah,
Dad, what's that dark spot over there? It's Pelican Bay. You must never go there.
Yeah, and that's the way it was growing up.
It was,
but now
shady, real shifty.
I think $180,000 houses now out there.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, my day job, we've been running loads of concrete out there to build some of those newer subdivisions. And it's really nice.
It's super nice.
Pelican Bay, I mean, shit. You say whatever you want.
Unbelievably nice. I can't.
Yeah, you would have been well suited to own one of those trashy properties 20 years ago and hold on to it, because now it's worth a lot.
Yeah, what were my parents thinking?
You know, what were any of us thinking?
We should have all just been buying something out there.
I sold a home in 2018, I think. Bro,
too close to the boom.
If I had held on to it, well, the thing is, it was like right on the edge of it, and the property value had gone up so much. I was like, I'm gonna get mine right now. And I made a good little chunk of change, but dude, if I'd have held on to it for 3 more years, I would have doubled my money.
Yeah. It's wild, man. And it's unfair, to be honest. You know,
it doesn't make any sense.
I'm happy about the growth, but I got pushed out 2015 and 16. And I was still renting. I had a mother-in-law suite in the Fairmount for $500 a month.
Damn,
went up.
That's crazy.
1 point to $600 a month. In 2015, 16 went up to $850 a month. And you know, I was friends with the owner at that point, but their taxes went up. Their house got appraised. It was on Hemp Hill or Lipscomb, which is one in the south part of Lipscomb.
Yeah,
Hemp Hill's one over. Like terribly underfunded and depreciated properties. One block over, but they appraised their house at $300,000, and so. Yeah, I was out, and a richer musician came in, you know, and that's so. The downside of all this is that there's nowhere to live. Like,
I honestly don't see an upside to it, and I try not to get too negative about it. But I've been saying for a very long time that, you know, I've traveled a lot, and I've been to a lot of awesome places, but Fort Worth has always been home because it is something different than anywhere else you can go.
I agree. Yeah.
The vibe, the people, it's hard to quantify. But if you live here or if you've been to Fort Worth, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I'm just worried that eventually, and it will happen, man, it's going to change. And one day we'll, you know, look out our window and go, well, shit, I don't know. It's in Fort Worth anymore, is it?
I thought we're almost there, but I think we're in the gravy train. Yeah, we're in the glory days of being a nationally known, recognized metropolitan area. Yeah. I think the future of Fort Worth is becoming part of Arlington and Dallas becoming part of Arlington and Fort Worth. Yeah. You know, this as well as all the suburbs. You know, I don't have any grand predictions on how it would happen, but I would imagine 50 years from now, this will be like a megalopolis.
Yeah, just one mega city.
And they got, you know, highways connecting everything, and maybe even an underground. That one long park they've said they're going to build forever with bike lanes from Fort Worth to Dallas. You know, the Trinity River Project,
Katy Trail, connecting all that.
Yeah,
they're working on it. If people would
quit stealing, then we might get some of that done. You know, like
what's going on? Who stole what?
In both Fort Worth and Dallas, there are ongoing investigations and also like scandal over the big bridge in Dallas. Mm-hmm. I don't know all the details, and also through the Trinity River.
I heard about
the Trinity River. What is that? Panther Pavilion complex thing.
Well, the entire river area, there was a huge project, and they were trying to fund it through some kind of like federal economic relief fund or something.
Right.
And the way they were trying to get the money is by saying that it was something to improve the waterway, right?
Right.
It was something to do with helping the river. Mm-hmm. Well, this isn't really about the river. It's the shit on top of the river or on the sides, you know?
Yeah.
So the federal funding got pulled for it. And so there was some huge investigation. Everything got halted for like 2 years, but I guess it all got settled because now it's all back in full swing and they're building again. Well, but there was a huge investigation.
And all, you know, what I've been learning, there's just so many ways that I don't know about how city officials and government officials and people who take positions of trust and stewardship siphon and steal.
Yeah. And so you're talking about individual shit, like people dipping into big pockets.
People and who are probably organized as it goes up, you know. I mean, and we know these people are organized. At some levels, we call them transnational corporations, you know, and at other levels, you can call it this oligarchic network, you know, this whole World War III thing that's going on with Putin and Ukraine and America and
Careful, European Joe. We got satellites linking up right now.
Well, you know, they're flexing. They're flexing.
Yeah.
So I don't know that I'm an idiot. So, you know, if I do have a couple things right, you know, and I do take in the news and try to trust it. So, but they're flexing. The oligarch networks, the transnational corporations, like that's I think why we have this hyper nationalism coming back, because people are resisting to this kind of unseen force, you know, that's controlling our lives, like, and controlling our lives in a good way a lot of times, you know. Humans are predictable, right? Like, that's what I've been learning a lot more about biology. Like, we don't actually see anything, you know, our senses only predict and then reinforce, you know what I'm saying? So you predict something around you, like the placement of your water bottle or your cell phone, but it just might not be there. And your brain is predicting that it is. So when you reach to grab it, then you reinforce that again, And
what are you trying to do to my head right now?
I was just trying to say that sometimes it's okay to be controlled, right? Because, but then where do we draw the line, right? Because that's the thing. I want to be controlled up to a point where I can be happy and have a place to live, and I have a meaningful opportunity to earn some money and take care of myself.
Yeah.
So if you can control me with government to help me get there, then I'm all for government and I want to be a part of it.
It's hard for me to sign up for that. I don't like the idea of anybody controlling me, but it, with a population like what we've got, you do have to have a governing force to make sure that everything runs in a way that we can provide services and utilities and things like that, so that it all works out.
I guess what I'm proposing is that this granted trust in our government to provide those services for us and to provide these things that we need has been usurped. The trust that we give has been usurped by transnational corporations who have a goal of infinite capital.
Can you give me kind of an example of what you're talking about?
Of what a transnational corporation
I do have a broad understanding of what you're saying.
So McDonald's is a transnational corporation. McDonald's products are offered beyond nation-state lines.
Yeah.
Right? So nationalism, nations, we are a nation. So we don't have a hyper-nationalist philosophy as our overall culture, but we do see hyper-nationalism resurfacing in our country. The amount of flags that are flown, it hasn't always been that way. American flags is cool and I really like that, and I fly one in July every year. And however, in Germany you don't fly the German flag because hyper-nationalism led to Hitler, right? This populist leader. Nationalism, hyper-nationalism.
So you still feel the effects of that when you go to Germany. You can see things that
There's
are
no
different
flags,
because of that.
Well, yeah, and we're not a nationalist country. We're a democracy, right? Like, we believe in a republic. We're a republic. Mm-hmm. We're not a nation, so anyway, it's semantics, but what I'm saying is that we gave our trust to the government, and I believe in that. But I don't believe in McDonald's having authority over my government, which they do, right, through lobbyists. And they also don't only have lobbying powers in my country, but they have lobbying powers in every country in the world.
How crazy is that?
That's what a transnational corporation is. A corporation that goes beyond national borders and with their influence and their goods, right? And they provide the same goods everywhere. Or they change it when they need to, depending on what the culture wants, get different stuff. There's cool YouTube channels of guys that go around and eat only McDonald's all over the world, and
like Super Size Me?
No, other guys that'll eat like the weird, the stuff that we don't have on our menu.
Yeah, it's different everywhere you go.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Can't get the same Big Mac in Mexico.
Right. But you also get like squid or something in Japan, McDonald's,
Jesus.
Yeah, I don't know.
Squid fries.
But
hook it up.
So I'm just saying that I feel like, I don't want to be controlled anymore by marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think that's right. I want to be controlled by my local government. Like, that's who I want to be controlled by. I have to give my consent somewhere. Consent was the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
Noam Chomsky has a great book called Manufacturing Consent, And as long as our government masks itself as a civil service, when it's actually a paid enforcer of the economic principles of infinite profit at no regard for anyone around.
This conversation is going to keep people awake tonight.
Doubt it.
No, I mean, there's everything you're talking about goes deeper and deeper. Like, we could have an entire podcast on that, like the influences of these multinational corporations and what it's doing to our society. It's a lot. There's a lot to unpack there. But
and think about the cell phone and the social media. They're different. Transnational corporations. That's the past. That's the 80s and 90s. The 70s, 80s, and 90s. That's before our world. What world do we live in? If we have a hard time understanding the reach of corporations like McDonald's, then we can't understand Amazon ever. And so if we can't understand what Amazon is, Amazon, in my opinion, we're gonna have to government control that bitch one day.
It's gonna become the government.
Well,
it kind of already has, but
right. So there you go. I guess that's what I'm saying. That's great insight, right? What you just said really is what I'm trying to say, is that we can either make these things become government, or they will become our government.
Well, you look at what these big companies are doing, man. They're sending people to fucking outer space. I mean, they're doing stuff that our own government can't do right now. That's real talk. I mean, we can't put an astronaut in space as of right now. NASA has to write the check to another country or one of these private entities in order to get our astronauts to the International Space Station.
Yeah.
So we've got corporations that are doing bigger shit than our own government. That's crazy.
Yeah. It is crazy. I feel like
I'm still rooting for SpaceX, though. I love it.
Oh, I have a small explanation, maybe, like a corporation. Are you aware of the history of what a corporation is?
Tell me.
You know, corporations are people now. They haven't always been people. Like, you know that, right? Like, what amendment is it? It's an amendment that grants peoplehood to corporations. Like,
I don't know. I'm not tracking this one.
Not tracking this one? It's well known. Corporations are considered people. Like
well, a co-op is a group of people, right?
Yes, but the corporation now today is an entity in itself, right? Like that is granted all the rights of an individual.
I did not know that.
And used to, a corporation was a government charter to build something, to do something for the government, right? Like to build a bridge. So we would assign a corporate charter to build a bridge. Once the bridge was done, the corporation was disbanded, right? It wasn't, as corporations grew over the years, financing and banking and everything got involved, which is way over my head. Corporations are now as powerful as they are today, and they are recognized as individuals. I don't have all the lingo or the literature at my disposal to say that, but you have a phone.
Yeah, look it up.
But no, and don't just do your research on Facebook or whatever. But I mean, there's scholarly articles and there's plenty of really great journalism about corporations being individuals that you can access. I mean, I recommend Vox is a great journalistic source, VOX, the channel. Johnny Harris is one of my favorites, who can tie a lot of this stuff together. He loves maps and borders. He did a series for Vox called Borders for a few years, and now he has his own channel. Really super cool guy.
I'll have to check it out.
Super investigative, but it's not, so where are we at here? What are we trying to say?
I don't know, but I do want to talk about Spain and this pimp-ass postcard I got about 5 months ago.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for that, by the way. I told you the other day I've been waiting to thank you in person for that postcard. That was one of the coolest things I've ever received.
I'm glad that you liked it so much.
Me and Johnny were talking about it on our episode, and I know you heard that, yeah. But that was really cool, and I appreciate that. But I want to talk about your journey, man, because before you left, we sat down and we got a chance to talk about it. And expectations and your choice in shoes and
man. Well, I think everything that I'm talking about today too is part of what I've been discovering lately over the Camino De Santiago, which is the way of St. James, the road to Santiago. I walked the Northern Trail, which is Camino del Norte, which is not the most popular, which is known as Camino Frances, the French way, which goes just a little bit south through Pamplona and all of the more famous ideas and stories that you get about the Camino.
And where exactly, what towns did you go through?
So I started in the north. The first big town I came to was San Sebastian, all the way on the coast. It's known as the Northern Coastal Trail, then Bilbao, then Santander, then Gijón, and then down into Santiago. So it's just as long and a little bit harder physically, a lot more mountains, a lot better scenery, I think, a lot better cuisine and culture, I prefer anyway.
Is this the same route you took the previous time? Is this the second time you've done it?
Second time I've done it. I think I'm just going to keep doing that trail.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have this desire to do multiple trails. I just want to, maybe it'll develop later. I want to do this same trail again and keep seeing myself through this lens of the Camino, which makes me want to say a lot of the stuff that we're talking about more clearly and with more confidence. Like I don't have any rebellious or revolutionary ideas. I've learned this while walking the Camino. Through my life, people have tried to tell me that I am that, and I don't believe them anymore. I'm a reasonable person. I want security.
Unless your neighbor gets involved.
But it goes, I want security, I want security. I just want to be, if she steals his property, what's going to, I mean, she can steal my property.
Right.
And I do regret engaging, but I'm learning how to live in this world.
I didn't mean to send us down another rabbit trail, but yeah.
No, I mean, I've realized too that the only way I know how to speak passionately is by yelling. and a lot of this stuff I learned from the Camino. So like, the Camino is just an avenue for growth, and you said that, I think, and wrote. Did you write that or something? I can't remember, but you said something. I think you and Johnny said that it was a thing to grow and think about, and that I'm still unpacking
self-reflection.
Yeah. And I am still unpacking. I'm writing these journals, and I'm unpacking both of them. And I was telling you earlier, the first Camino, what I'll say is go do it, right? And if you want to know, if you're listening and you want to know about the Camino, I'm writing thousands and thousands of words about it, and I'll invite you to read it or call me and talk to me about it. Go do it.
Where's the best place for people to access it?
Oh, joefnsavage.com.
Okay.
My mom will call me FM.
You have a tab for just your journal entries?
Yeah, blog. Yeah, hit the blog tab. And it's really well organized. I spend a lot of time on my website to make it accessible and to hopefully help the navigation of everything. Also, all of my lyrics are on there for the last few albums, the songs that are released, and you can go and look through there. And I've taken the time to put in hyperlinks that'll take you back to the top and take you directly from the top to whichever song you want. I've also included a YouTube or Bandcamp or Spotify link next to each song so you can listen while you're reading the lyrics. But the Camino overall for me has been personal growth. It's worth it for the scenery, the food, everything that tourism is. It's totally worth it. It's the best experience you have. Everything that you want out of a normal day hike, like to Enchanted Rock in Austin or something, you're going to get that and more. If you want to do a survival thing, you can do that on the Camino. Just go like October, November, December, January, when the trails are fucking closed and there's no services and you're snowing out there, so.
No thanks.
The Camino has everything that you could possibly want. And I've just realized it's the one river, many paths kind of idea.
Yeah. So for our listeners that didn't catch the previous episode we did talking about the Camino before you left on your trip, this is a 500-mile adventure leaving from, it's supposed to be like where you live, right? That's the idea.
Yeah, so Europeans do walk from where they live.
But you picked your starting point and you loaded up with documents that you showed me earlier. Like they gave you kind of a El Camino passport.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, you get a passport.
It's this beautiful fold-out passport. And I guess you're getting stamps as you go along on this trip, right?
Yep. Yeah. So and they calculate your mileage kind of by that at the end. So you have to wait in line and get a number, and there's people behind the glass window who look at your passport, and
that's so cool.
And you can get one of those Compostelas, so that certificate's known as a Compostela. You can get one for just walking the last 100 kilometers, with the last 62 miles or so.
Yeah.
And so I ended up doing 502 miles, which is the entire northern route. And it's well planned, well organized, so many guides, very good amenities. You're not going to suffer if you don't want to.
Right.
And that's another thing I learned this time. I didn't have any money in 2019, and I wanted to change my life for my 35th birthday, and so that's why I went. And I always wanted to do this Camino, but I had no money in it, and it really showed me a lot of my trauma behaviors, and trauma for me is caused not only by my parents like everyone else, but by society and things that I believed in, and it didn't quite work out for me. And that's why I have the angst to talk about transnational corporations and oligarchs and the things, and really it comes down to equality divide. And I bought into this civil servant idea. I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to be bilingual, multicultural. This is what I built my life on. And as I got into my teenage years, society told me that I didn't build my life on anything, that I had no foundation, because those values weren't actually where our country was going. And I can see that now. We didn't become multicultural or bilingual here in Texas and North Texas. I don't speak Spanish every day. I don't have multicultural, multinational friends, so it's a lot of homogeny here, and everything that I built my life on went against that. But it was part of the rhetoric of Jimmy Carter, even a little bit of Reagan and Bush, but Jimmy Carter and Clinton continued this kind of idea. Jimmy Carter was just a great man who got his fucking dignity robbed from him, by backdoor politics from the right, which, they convinced the Shah of Iran to only work with Reagan and not do a deal with Jimmy Carter right at the election year, So Reagan gets the prisoners released, but Jimmy Carter suffers this huge defeat by the terrorist regime, the Ayatollah, which the United States helped to put over there, right? Like, isn't the Ayatollah?
I don't know the Ayatollah.
The Shah of Iran.
Okay.
So the Shah of Iran captured Americans and imprisoned them at the end of Jimmy Carter's term, for a 4-year term. And Reagan did backdoor a deal with the Shah to get to release the prisoners, but only after Jimmy Carter lost the election. So they go into the election when Jimmy Carter fucking can't get his prisoners out. But Jimmy Carter's policies, Jimmy wasn't, he wasn't this militant leader. Jimmy Carter was a Christian of Southern Baptist, I think, kind of homely, also very soft-spoken. He still works for Habitat for Humanity. He's like 90.
That's right.
Yeah. More than,
and I've said this for as long as I've been an adult, but what our presidents do after they leave office really says a lot about them. And Jimmy Carter has been building homes for underprivileged or broke people. I don't know.
Well, yeah.
Habitat for Humanity or something like that. But Jimmy Carter is just a monster as far as what he's contributed to our community after his years in office. Like he never stopped helping our community.
Right.
And that says a lot about a dude.
And I think that his policies were part of my upbringing. And I think that what Trump has done for everyone that we must acknowledge is that, and not only Trump, but Trump combined with McConnell, Mitch McConnell, is now the minority leader of the Senate, turtle guy. But anyways, what these people did was they have shown us the way that government veins work. If you want to look at it as like a nucleus, like the heart is Washington, and then all of our blood vessels take the information and policies to the extremities, even down to our fingernails. The fingernails would maybe be like Granbury or the homeowners association, right? These policies flow through this. And if we compare it to what I'm trying to say, Jimmy Carter's kind of policies, and even Reagan's policies back then, even Nixon's policies. Nixon was the last one to preserve a national park, right? Really? Yeah. So, or until Obama. I guess Obama did declare two national parks while he was in office. But so
probably named him after himself.
God. But the information flows, and so I don't know. The Camino for me helped me realize that these qualities that I grew up believing in are helpful, and that I do have a strong foundation. And no matter what government is going to say to me, or what lack of government, or lack of, because government for me is school too. It's a public entity. It's provided to us by our tax dollars and coordinated through a government agency. Like we are controlled by the government, but it's better than being controlled by a transnational corporation. At least government can be by the people. It can be. Is it? I don't know right now, but like we do have the opportunity to participate beyond just voting. Voting is a really cool thing. In our country right now, it's up in the air whether voting works or not, right? And that's unfortunate, but there are other ways to deal and provide civic responsibility and accountability to our citizens.
On the local level, and I really want to get into this with like Maddie Parker, our new mayor, eventually get her on the show to talk about like local voting, because it's glamorous and it's highly popular to vote for the next president, right? Mm-hmm. But you get a lot more benefit and you see a lot more direct action out of your vote with local government.
Yeah.
And I've been leaning hard away from politics with the Fort Worth Roots podcast, but I think eventually no, not to say that that was off topic or off brand.
No, I hear you. But
I hate that phrase. It's going to end up coming into the Fort Worth Roots fold, and I do want to get Maddie Parker on to talk about like voting locally and what kind of an impact that has, because fewer and fewer people every year vote in these local elections.
Right. But we have 160 million votes for the president. I mean, that's crazy. For both presidents combined, right? There's something around there. I don't know, but that's crazy. Mm-hmm. But I'm sorry I cut you off. You're right, though. Not at all. Fewer and fewer.
So, I think that most people, including myself, just feel totally powerless with the direction of our government.
I'm glad you said that, because that's my Camino walks or search for meaning, and I want to place meaning somewhere, and I feel powerless, right? Also, and I think that's why I play music. It's why I write. It's why I speak about the things that I like to talk about, because I like to see myself. Why I failed in grad school was that I believed in something called agency, ignorantly though. And agency's ability to make your own decisions. Whereas a lot of the professors kept trying to tell me that like humans don't have very many decisions. Like my decisions can be predicted down to what I'm going to say and do and buy. And that's why data is so valuable right now. We see companies. I met a guy at a bar who's setting up an app solely to sell the data of the people who sign up on the app. That's where he's going to make his money. The data provides a service. So it's like my behavior, that's what they kept trying to tell me in college, that I was predictable. And I kept saying, no, I'm not. I'm doing everything I want to do. Yeah. And so I'm trying to find this, where are my boundaries, right? Like, who am I? What am I? And the Camino helps me think about that. And I think that physiologically, like to my marrow of my being and my actual physical body, blood and bones, I've changed for the better because of the walking. And it's given me the capacity to think clearer about who I am and to see myself in the face of such influencing things around me at all times, including government, corporations, other people, local governments, the scene that I'm involved in, like I can't help but, and I don't think I'm unique, see myself through all these lenses and how do I fit in there? And I think what I've been trying to do is unpack all these assumptions I made over the course of my life, because I made a lot of assumptions. And I think capitalism is a great system, but unbridled capitalism lives on these assumptions. It thrives on someone who has a trauma that they can't address because they can't afford to. But trauma people want to work harder, right, to try and prove something to someone, that they're to validate who they are and to understand the pain that they felt in life. And without validation, I will work endlessly. The work sets you free, right? Like this Albach Mock-Free thing. Like if you've ever read Man's Search for Meaning, it's a book by a prisoner, a Jewish guy. Albach Mock-Free is a extermination camp. Okay. During World War II. It's at Auschwitz or whatever. Above Auschwitz, it said Albach Mock-Free. Work will set you free. But so work does set me free. Work helps me to forget about who I am and my problems, and to constantly seek meaning and validation from the other throughout my day. And even though I don't get that, I do get enough monetary reward to survive and go back to work and look for that validation again. And
that's a little fucked up, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
totally fucked up.
Yeah. Because I worry about this more and more the older I get. Like we work ourselves to death, and men especially, I think we just put our nose to the grindstone and we keep going. Yeah. And then one day you're just burnt the fuck out and you can't work anymore. Yeah. But we do this every day feverishly without questioning it. We just go to work and do things. And now for you, you've made it to a position where mostly you're just working on your art, which is beautiful.
Amazing, bro.
So there's so many people that are jealous of what you're doing, but you earned it. You earned it.
Anybody who's jealous, just know how grateful I am and how aware I am. I'm forced to pretend like I don't exist and that I'm just another normal, which I am, human being living on this planet. But I have had a job. I've worked outside. I've done manual labor. Oh, yeah, sure. I worked in the classroom.
Yeah, this is a fairly recent thing. I mean,
I'm just saying
you've worked up to this point.
Right, and I'm so blessed. No, I didn't mean to sound like I was rebuttaling anything you're saying. No. I'm glad people are jealous of me because it just gives me a little bit more of the validation that I'm looking for. It's hard to find meaning in jealousy and envy, but I'm learning to do it, because
all it means is, or all I mean by it is that you have finally you've obtained a goal, you've obtained something that a lot of people are chasing, which is, making enough that you can focus on your art.
Through something you love. Yeah.
Yeah. And that is so incredibly valuable. But to the, 98% of us that are not there yet, just mindlessly going to work every day.
Well, I guess that's what I'm trying to speak to too. Now that you bring that up, is that I don't think that I should have had to do it the way that I did. I feel like, and this maybe I feel like capitalism could still thrive if people are allowed the opportunity to own a parcel of land this size, 2,500 square feet. And maybe we don't give it to them, but if I were able to, my parents weren't going to provide this for me. They didn't. My parents provided everything they possibly could for me, and I'm so thankful for that.
Yeah.
But they couldn't provide me with my own place to live and have security.
Right.
But if I had security and a place to live, art could have always been number one. And art is who we are as humans. We are artistic expressions. We are expressive beings. We love music. We love expression, and even nonfiction is art. Even science is art. So, when you get into the craft, you start to there's so much beauty there. And I think that it's wrong to deny human beings that by making people mindlessly go to work and not understand who they are, and therapy should be free. I'm all for healthcare, but even with insurance today in America, it's hard to get therapy because therapists don't use insurance because their insurance won't cover therapy, mental therapy, but we need therapy. We need to understand if you're not going to give me a place to live, then give me help. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, what are we all paying taxes for? Just to try to understand.
Drone strikes.
I don't know.
Those are expensive, bro. Somebody's got to pay for them.
I mean, we have money for that and some,
Yeah.
I don't ever want to get into a debate about cutting military or police funding. My father was a police officer. The last thing I would want for someone like that is to have less resources.
Right.
But I want more resources for teachers.
Yes.
I want,
amen.
So I think that there's, we can do both. We don't have to say, oh, get rid of the military to do this, get rid of the police to do this. It's like, that's a straw man, right? I mean,
I think the budget issue is just a runaway train and nobody's at the steering wheel. You know what I mean? Like, there is so much shitty spending going on that just doesn't need to be there. And I remember last election cycle before Biden took office, or before he was the winner of the reality show that we were watching, but there were a couple of candidates that were proponents for universal
Yang.
Universal pay or like
universal income.
There you go.
$1,000 a month.
Yeah, and I remember thinking that is the stupidest shit I've ever heard. There's no way we could possibly do that. And then Corona hit. They started cutting checks, and I'm like, holy shit!
$900.
It is possible.
Yeah,
I mean, because they did it on a whim.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just the checks that they cut, but they also got into the unemployment.
Yeah.
And there was a federal funding program to make sure that people that were receiving unemployment were actually getting a shit ton more money. And this was coming out of a federal fund.
My guitarist was making $1,800 every 2 weeks.
That's why it was so hard to get people to go back to work, because they were getting these unemployment checks, and they were massive. Some people were actually making more money on unemployment than whenever they had a job.
My guitarist is one of them.
Why would you go back to work? Why? So, anyway, it is possible, apparently. Well, I don't know how.
Well, now their interest rates, the Fed has raised the interest 3 times this year. You can't. People with excellent 800 scores on their credit are getting 10% offers to finance a car. Like,
that's wild.
That's wild, bro. I mean, only shitty people like me get 10% off.
Same. Yeah. That motorcycle sitting out there is, I think, 10%, maybe 11.
Yeah. Bad. So, but I mean, it's crazy. We're facing the repercussions of it, but I don't understand. So back to what you were saying too, we were talking about Amazon, and Amazon, as well as Bill Gates, as well as, these companies, Microsoft, they were built on, I think I talked about this with you on a podcast before, but maybe not. This is a thing soapbox I have. Bill Gates can't exist without public funding. Bill Gates can't exist without the government, without the United States as a whole community, without all of our tax dollars, without the computer provided by his local government at his local library. That is what gave him the edge on everyone else.
No.
Without us, he doesn't exist. And so I'm grateful that he's saying he's going to give away all his wealth. Well, what are you waiting on? Like, give it away. Like,
is that something he's a proponent of? Yeah, giving away all his wealth
when he dies. So same with Warren Buffett. But these are philosophies of Andrew Carnegie. Right back in the day, there's a great autobiography about Andrew Carnegie that I read in the last few months. Or I audiobooked it. And Andrew Carnegie spent like the first third of his life figuring out how to amass capital, middle third amassing capital, and then the last third giving it all away and paying for public services, and Carnegie Hall, these, I mean, this is what a capitalist used to be, right? Like, it was still kind of about infinite growth, but wealth was something to be given to your fellow citizens, you know.
Yeah.
It's not what we do now, you know.
Yeah.
And what I was trying to say is that Amazon being so powerful, they couldn't build that, you know. Jeff Bezos didn't do that by himself. He did that on the backs of generations of Americans and generations of free thinking, right? We have to understand that why didn't North Korea come up with any of these inventions, right? Why are free thinking societies the societies that can advance so quickly? You know, and that's what we're in jeopardy of in our country, and that's why we're in decadence.
We're losing it.
We're losing our ability to think freely and to encourage critical thinking and teach it in schools and make our children understand value through critical thinking.
Because over the last 10, 15 years, if you say the wrong thing, if you make the wrong noise with your mouth, you can get canceled and shut down permanently.
And it sucks
without any kind of reconciliation. There's no way to come back from it.
Right.
So, yeah.
And we both, and I think a lot of stuff we're talking about today is stuff that everyone can agree with. Like the dichotomy, the binary of Republicans and Democrats in our political system it doesn't serve us any longer. It further divides us and creates monsters that we just can't deal with.
I feel like a lot of people are waking up to that. Like there seems to be a social movement where people are coming around to the idea, okay, the Republicans and the Democrats, they all need to go. And we need to start with something else because this old shit that it's not working anymore. And everybody's, pitted against each other and fighting out in the street about a clerical error on their title or whatever. People are just mad at each other, and it sucks. But we got to find another way to do this because this just isn't working anymore.
Well, and the rise of violence is scary. And
do you know that violent crime has actually gone down consistently over the last 20 years? If you turn on the news or you listen to the radio, somebody's getting murdered every 5 seconds.
Right.
But if you look at the statistics, it's actually opposite of that.
I do know that. And
that's crazy.
But in the last 5 years, I don't know if we're seeing a downtrend.
Do you think it's kind of on the way back up?
I don't know about national statistics. I know in my life.
I know in Fort Worth it's gotten crazy.
People are mad at each other in my life. Yeah, it's hard to, I'm on pins and needles. I dress like a conservative man from Texas.
Yeah.
And aside from my hair and my earrings, but at least I show them I'm trying, I just don't want to argue anymore. I don't want anyone to pull their gun on me. I don't want to. I want to be able to have Christian thoughts. The more that Camino also helps me get in touch with my faith. I'm not some zealot, I'm not a religious person. I don't believe in religion, but there's something about Jesus and Christianity and the tenets in the Bible and Judaism because we use the Torah as the Old Testament. So, I mean, I get it. And there's something in Buddhism. There's something in Muslimism or Islam. These religions offer social structure, but they were the mechanisms of control before. Right. Government is in opposition to religion, just as it should be in opposition to transnational corporations. Government is supposed to help us be free and be who we want to be. But, the Camino has helped me understand God in a private way. And that's, I think, what God asks of me more than anything is to keep my relationship with the higher power private as much as possible. And other than moments like this when...
On a podcast?
Well, when I feel like I need to shed light that the Camino for me isn't just a tourism thing. It's not a health thing only. It's not a mental thing only. It is a spiritual formation of who I am and getting me closer to my idea of what God is,
Let me see if I can stay on track with this idea. It's going to get kind of murky for a minute. But the first time I heard about flat Earth, these people that were, they've got their own ideas, right? And how do you know the world is round? Because you were told anyway. So that whole thing, as soon as I heard that, I was like, well, that's crazy. Of course, the Earth is not flat. That's insane. But what was interesting to me is that people were trying to think, well, I don't know anything. I don't know that this is a fact because I don't know. right?
Right.
Like, I've never seen something that proves that. I only know what I've been told, right? And so they're fighting against that. And then you look at either religion or politics, and if you attack those at the same tempo, or you analyze it through the same lens, you start to break it down like, okay, I'm being told this, but what do I know, right? And I think that whole thing, starting with flat earth and moving forward, I think people are, and I don't know if this social change is because of our access to information or what, but people are trying to make their own determinations on everything. And I kind of moved that same way over the last couple of decades with my thoughts on religion, because I've gone and I've attended services with all sorts of religions. Where they're preaching Islam or Buddhism or Christianity.
Too, man.
And I mean, even inside of Christianity, you got 20 different religions. You know? And I've been through a lot of those services because I find it sincerely interesting to watch how other people worship God. And Morgan Freeman did a whole series. It might actually be going on still. I don't know if they continued it, but just investigating other religions. And the point that I'm trying to get to is that I think more people should have their own ideas and analyze things from a perspective of, what do I know? Not what do I know because someone told me. Now, if you're running around telling people that the earth is flat and you're going to build your own rocket ship in your garage and you're going to fly out into outer space and take pictures of flat earth, that's pushing it a little too far.
Fucking do it.
Some of this.
Do it.
Well, there's a guy that did that and he died in that rocket ship because it exploded. But that really happened. There was a whole flat earth movement.
Keep trying. How long did it take? How many millennia did it take to prove the earth was actually spherical? So if we want to keep working on it, keep trying. You're going to have one death. That's fine.
I know, but
one death. That's what stopped you guys.
Some things you do need to like.
I get your overall point.
Does it pass the sniff test? You know, like, okay, Bob, you're going to build a rocket and you're going to launch this thing into outer space, right? Okay. Well, here's what we know. That's dangerous, and it's really hard to do. And are you sure you're qualified to build this thing next to your lawnmower? You know.
So somebody did this.
Yes, man.
Did he make it out of the atmosphere?
No, dude.
Okay.
No.
Right.
He made it I want to say he made it like 1,000 feet. And the thing just
I encourage him to seek what we've been talking about. Seek how, if he were still alive, I would tell him to try and imagine Jeff Bezos is not a guy who created this by himself. Right? Yeah. This is a problem. It benefits people like Bezos. It benefits their company's bottom line, right, of Amazon, to have people like this man who think that they can do everything by themselves, and they stand apart from generations of human beings who went before him. You know, I agree with you that we should be taught how to prove these things for ourselves, which there are pre-industrial revolution, pre-technological ways to prove a lot of science to you and to me if we were given the right tools to learn how to do that, right? And I think public education used to provide those tools to people.
It's a little watered down these days,
because if you can understand the world, and that's what's beautiful.
Damn it, Google lady.
Yeah, I didn't ask you. I think that's what's beautiful about science or investigation. Is that it's always changing, and we can't just sit back on our laurels once we realize, the sun doesn't revolve around the earth, you mean? Like, okay, we figured that out, we're done. That's not how life works, right? We've evolved further from that, and we have to be open to interpretation. But I think that we have to trust each other too. This flat earth thing and this alternative facts, I can't remember her name. Good. She will remain nameless. But the alternative facts in this world right now, I think that's a deterioration of who we are and our trust in one another. And I know what I need more than anything is trust and accountability. I need people to trust me, and I need people to trust, and I need people to hold me accountable to the ideas that I espouse and to my values. And I want to be an accountability factor in other people's lives, And I think this is all circling around to what we're talking about with my search for meaning, man's search for meaning. This guy that wrote that, Franz, I can't remember his name right now. It's a really famous book, Prisoner in one of those Jewish extermination camps who survived and found meaning, and talked about how even in their darkest hours they found meaning in there. I just finished another book called Unbroken. It's about Louis Zamperini. And there's a movie called Unbroken. I haven't watched it, but I'm about to. He was a sprinter and was super fast, was slated to run the first 4-minute mile in 38 years before Roger Bannister and 50 something, right?
Yeah.
But he went to the war and became a pilot. They fought and flew so many missions. Eventually he and his buddy were shot down, and they floated over in Japan. They floated the sea for 7 days.
Oh my God.
Survived.
Jesus.
It's an amazing story. But when they landed on the shore of a POW camp, the worst POW camp in Japan. In Japan, I didn't really realize this either. My grandfather flew quite a few bombing missions in Japan, killed a lot of Japanese people, I'm sure. Not directly, but he was the captain he was the actual pilot of B-39.
He had a hand
B-38 too, yeah. But they were ruthless. They tortured Americans and they exterminated in mass exterminations. They were ruthless to POWs. And so Zamperini survived that. And then he got transferred to another place supposed to be better, but he met his ultimate torturer, this guy known as the Bird, who has a name. They were both still alive into their 80s too, but this man tortured Louis Zamperini personally and took a liking to torturing just him for another year and a half or so before the war finally ended. Louis went back. This guy was alive. He was never caught. So at the end of World War II, the Japanese were having war crime tribunals sponsored by the United States and the Allies, and putting a lot of those people in jail and killing a lot of those people with death penalty sentences, hangings, and whatever. But that stopped. So when that stopped, the Bird, I can't remember his official name, but as Louis knew him, the Bird came out of hiding, and Louis went to meet him, wrote him a letter of forgiveness, right? Like, God, it's so crazy, man. Like, and
is that all in the story of Unbroken?
Yeah. Oh, it's a beautiful, beautiful book, man.
That is so wild,
and
man.
it just reinforced. It was like one step further from this Man's Search of Meaning book, which was, same thing. How did we find meaning in these situations, and how did Louis survive that, and what kind of tenacity does it take? And there was a guy when they were floating 47 days on the sea, they lost. 3 of them started out, and they fought sharks. They fought dehydration. They were sprayed by a Japanese gunner who almost sunk their fucking life rafts, Like, but one guy had no hope the entire time. First night, ate all of the chocolate preserves.
Son of a
right?
bitch.
And they forgave him. They didn't even mention it in their report later in life.
Guess what's on the menu now, Hershey bar? Asshole.
But that guy just kept going deeper and deeper into a depression of not controlling himself, where Louis and the other guy, they would have, together they all did this, but they had imaginary meals and they shared recipes, and they oh man, wild stuff. But Louis and the other guy both survived and made it home. And
how did Hershey bar, how did he die?
He died. He eventually just withered.
Just gave up.
Yeah, even because, they were eating raw bird meat, and they would catch a fucking albatross that landed on. They realized they created these hats with this canvas, and dude, it is incredible what the human being can do and accustom itself to, and how much of it is mental, And
that's wild.
And I want the Camino to continue to heal me. I'm going to do it again, and I want to continue to be healed. Hate have ruled my life since I was probably 10 years old, 6 to 10 years old. I hated my father so much, and Louis hated the Bird, right? When he got out for 20 years, he was a drunkard, he was a womanizer, and he planned to go back to Japan and find that man and kill him, right? And his hatred drove everything about his life. I didn't know that I had so much hatred for my father and for government and for the other, but I did, and I am relinquishing that as I walk these Caminos, and as I go through therapy, and as I talk more about my life. And behind the hatred and the anger is what I told you earlier. There's grief and shame of wasted life, and of meaninglessness, and of no value, and those feelings are feelings that I can work on, and I can change, and everyone can change those things. And having the time, the biggest thing about the Camino is the sacrifice it takes to leave your life, to leave your finances. My cat, I've had 2 cats, and they've changed my life. Give me something to love. You know, I have unconditional love for my cat and for my animals.
Yeah.
And they love me in their way, you know. They need me, and it feels good to be needed. And that sparked a big change in my life years ago. This is Dexter number 2. I don't want to name him different, right? So I adopted a cat when I came home to teach in 2013 or so, and I had Dexter 1 for a while, and he changed my life. I mean, hadn't had a pet since I was a child, but it brought this love back into my life, right? Like, to conquer this hate. Like, I loved that cat, and that cat died, right? Like, so, oh fuck, I wasn't ready for that, you know.
Yeah.
But the love I experienced with animals, and it translates into a love for myself, right? And it translates into the ability to go and walk the Camino, the ability to read all these books and talk like I know what I'm talking about, right? And to try to figure out who I am and just be an inspiration, hopefully to another person. You know, that's why I want to do these podcasts. And thank you for giving me such opportunity to speak.
Well, I love having you on the show, Joe. You're a good dude, and any goddamn time you want to do a recording, I'm game.
Yeah, anytime you want to come out too, man.
I've got a studio.
Yeah, I know. I will come to the studio for the next one.
So, I love the drive out here, and my problem, as you well know, is just trying to find time to step away and get out here to see you. But I'm trying to get a hold on my schedule.
Oh, you made the trip, baby. So I love you for that. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, man. I mean,
I'm sorry it took me so long to get here.
It's a hard trip to come out here, you know, and I live out here, and
it's beautiful, though.
It changed the way I live. You know, I mean, I used to not have a car and live in the Fairmount. So there you go. I can't have that life anymore. And I don't expect anyone else to understand what it's like to drive 60 miles round trip to get to Fort Worth, you know?
Yeah. I wouldn't want to do it.
But I still love
It's almost worth it, though, to be in such a beautiful space.
I love Fort Worth, and I would like to have a house there one day, you know. But me and my brother always said we were going to buy the top floor of the bank tower down there once they renovated it, the tower. Yeah. Uh-huh. So he's on pace. He's doing pretty good.
Hey, man, still might happen.
So, but I'm glad to be a part of your podcast and Fort Worth, you know, man. And I'm just glad I get the opportunity to riff and speak my mind and try to just share who I am and what I've gone through.
And I told you before we started the recording, anytime I want to name drop so people know what the show's about and the circle that I kind of operate in, I just tell them, you know, Joe Savage, and they know exactly who I'm talking about. You are a local celebrity, and most people have a very high opinion of you. I told you I'd talk to one guy that doesn't like Joe Savage.
I just love hearing about the good, you know, and I focus on the bad too much, like we all might do. If you're out there and you love me and you like what I do, tell me, because I love hearing it, and it means the world to me. And if you want to know more about me, you can always read my journals and blogs, and you know, there's so much. I put out so much content. I want to be known, you know. And now that I'm being known, and you're affirming that, you know, I'm trying to build that relationship. You know, I want to see what I can gain from others who like me and learn from them. But I also feel good when my life can influence someone else, that my pain and suffering hasn't been for naught. You know, it gives me value in my life. When a song I wrote captures someone, or when a journal entry I wrote can help, or even someone can empathize with me, you know, that makes me feel great, because it makes me feel not so alone, you know.
Sure.
So, no, you know, I know all this by analytics, and I know all your IP addresses out there.
I'm watching you.
But it's always great to actually have someone come over and sit down and talk with me, like you, or anybody out there listening. Just drop a line, you know. I mean, we talked about this. A like on a post is now mandatory. It doesn't carry any emotional significance, unfortunately. And so I'm sorry that I don't take anyone's likes to my post as meaningful, but I can't.
A comment goes a long ways.
A comment does still?
Say something.
Comment has a lot.
You voyeur?
Yes. Stop letting me know you're watching me.
Sitting there in your boxers, not saying anything, you creepy. Gotta say something. No, I feel that, and we talked about it before the recording, but it feels like a one-sided conversation a lot of the time, because you're putting out all this content, and you know people are looking at it. You can see the analytics. They don't say anything.
Yeah.
Say hi.
Yeah.
Comment on this recording here. Yeah, say hi. Say hi to Joe. Say hi to me.
I'm not just a pure capitalist. I want your money, but until there's masses of you watching and listening, and I get checks, I need something more. Say what's up.
Yeah, for sure. You do have your show. Not show, but gig out there tonight. Sunday, what time does it start? 4 o'clock?
No, 6 to 9 every
6 to
Sunday.
9.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the kitchen closes at 8. So y'all get out there every Sunday on the lake. Eagles Point, just can't praise them enough. And, that's the last thing I would want to plug here is go see Eagles Point, eat JT's food, get the black and shrimp tacos.
It's excellent. Yeah. I've been to the Saginaw one.
Yeah.
And their food is incredible.
Yeah. So,
and it's, at the price point that they're cooking this stuff,
it's bar food price point.
I don't know how you're going to beat that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, and you expect something low quality. And they do have tenders, but the tenders are way better than any, chicken tenders that you get at some rundown.
And just so the listeners know, that's not a sponsor yet. So I'm saying this out of sincerity.
Stay off my gravy train, baby. I'm on that tea right now. No, I love JT and Mandy. They're great. They're great people. I'm so happy to make money with them. And
I think I met JT because he was running
he was there cooking
food that night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Great guy. Super good chef. They do a lot for me. Amplify 817 does a lot for me too, and Gallery of Dreams. I was mentioning that I put all of them inside the liner notes of my latest album called Tiger in the Room, which is unavailable unless you come to my show and get it.
Come get it, folks.
You can listen to a couple singles that I've released, but Gallery of Dreams gave me $2,000 during the pandemic. I'm super grateful for that. And, I've spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on all my recordings over the last few years. So that portion did help a lot. And same with JT and Mandy. Their guaranteed income at once a week with Saginaw for the last year has made my life better. And then now they've added in Wednesdays and Sundays. Amazing. Amplify 817. Wednesdays Burleson.
And
yeah.
Sundays, of course.
And then Amplify 817, they accepted my Transcendental Railroad into their platform, and I'm not going to release it to anyone else. So
I love Amplify 817. I love what they're doing. I got to sit down with Rita Alfaro.
I've listened to a little bit. I haven't got as deep into it.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
And the way that they're connecting the community with our local artists is priceless. It's absolutely priceless.
I am so envious and jealous that I didn't get accepted into Amplify last year, so I could be a part of the 817 Day. That looks fucking cool as fuck, man. Will Rogers Coliseum,
August 17th.
817 Day. I like that. I want to be a part of that show. That they have a great lineup. There's little Dexter. He's a good boy. But Amplify 817 is a super cool thing. It's publicly funded. This is our tax dollars at work, right? I mean, this money, they paid me, and I have the check right here, actually.
Oh, shit.
So that check is from the city of Fort Worth.
Very cool.
So you guys paid us. It's $300 what they paid us for the lifetime licensing of the album to be on their platform. And that's what they did for every artist who was accepted into the 817 platform. And then thanks to them, I am not releasing the album to Spotify or any other digital platform. If you want to hear Transcendental Railroad its entirety front to back, streaming it, you can only get it on Amplify 817.
And that's awesome. I need to get with Rita. I am putting together a Fort Worth Roots playlist on Amplify 817.
That's gonna be good.
Compliments of Rita.
Fuck yeah, dude.
She was like, yeah, you can have your own playlist. I was like, I'm doing it.
Hell yeah.
But I've been busy, and doesn't seem like that would take very long, but I need to sit down and iron that out. But Joe Savage is going to be on that playlist.
Well, thank you. and all this stuff means a lot. And what makes Amplify so much more meaningful is the money. I mean, I can't get around the fact that we need money. And
you have to. Yeah. And I think that there's for everybody, definitely for myself, there's some pullback whenever you start talking about money with your creation, because you don't want to cheapen it. You don't want to make it seem like you're just there for the money. But guess what? You got to eat. You got to keep the lights on.
And how about these buses? Like, this is freaking amazing. Like, we have local musicians, Jacob Furr, Avery Burke, Cutthroat Finches, Charles, or what was it? I can't remember the other guy's name now. Shoot. But their fucking faces.
Vincy Jones.
Yeah. Their faces are in the buses.
That's so cool.
You can't buy that. No. Try to go buy that with your little musician
Absolutely
salary.
Not.
Like, I don't think your podcast salary can afford it either. I can't afford a bus for my information in my face to be plastered over a bus.
For those of you that aren't following what Joe's talking about, is inside the public buses here in Fort Worth. And when you walk inside, you've got local musicians placarding both sides of the inside of the bus
with QR codes to listen immediately, right?
That's so cool.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. And that kind of money, that's what I mean with money too. Not just the $300 they gave me, but that money, the exposure, doing a show at Will Rogers Coliseum,
a free show,
is a dream. Yeah. Like, that is so cool, and I just can't wait to have that 817 day become part of Fort Worth for good, and to see some of this money going to people I know is great. It encourages me to keep paying taxes.
It's doing something. Yes.
Oh, going forever.
It says a lot about our community, and I love that it's happening here in Fort Worth, and I will absolutely support Amplify 817 with every chance I get. So,
hell yeah.
I love that movement. Joe, thank you for being on the show today, and tell these people where they can find your shit, dude.
JoeFNSavage.com or at JoeFNSavage on all the social media stuff. Yep, so glad to have a website. So check it out. I spent a lot of time on it.
I need to look at it. I can't remember what is this a recent addition, your website?
I've had it for about a year or two.
Okay. I don't remember looking at it.
It's where you read anything you've read. Whatever the blog's on there.
Okay. I think I accessed it through Facebook.
You did. So it just takes you to the blog post. Yeah. But if you go scroll up, there's a home or, anyway, it's all connected. It's just internet stuff.
Thank you for having me out here, man. I love this place.
Thanks for coming out. I'm glad you came. I'm always proud to show off.
If you hadn't have told me about the neighbors, I would have never known. It seems super chill.
It is really chill. She's crazy. She'll be gone. They're all their properties are up for sale.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're trying to leave. So thank the Lord, man. Let them get on out of here. That's a funny ass story, though.
36,000. I can have a little slice of heaven out here.
I think what they want for all that is for that little slice of heaven in contention right now, they want 20 G's, which I offered them 10, which is not worth more than 10. So they didn't take 10. But anyways, they want like 80 grand for all their properties. This back here, these 4 with the trailer went for 90.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, folks, if you are interested in some awesome property, hit up Joe Savage, and he can get you connected with the right people.
No, you just listen to my music. Do not hit me up about any property.
Brother, thank you again.
Thank you.
And anytime. And,
appreciate you,
the studio is kind of on your way out there to Eagle Mountain Lake.
So yeah, I'll be out, man.
If you ever want to do the Sunday thing, let me know. River Oaks.
River Oaks,
yeah.
Cool.
Right there at Yale and Meandering.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, easy to find.
I'll be there.
All right, Fort Worth Roots. Thank y'all for listening, and we will see you next week. Bye. Always a blast hanging out with Joe, man. Ridiculousness. What's going on out there, Joe? We're going to have to keep tabs on this. This seems like the story you hear right before Joe ends up going to prison for strangling a neighbor. No, that's not what's going to happen. We'll have none of that. Thank y'all for listening to another episode of the Fort Worth Roots podcast. I'm really looking forward to this event. We are inches in goal. We're right up to the deadline here. September 10th, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. And I've been telling people, hey, I know you got stuff going on. You got a gig, you got an event, you're going to be going and doing stuff. That's fine. This is from 1 to 6 p.m. Make this your pregame location. Come see me. Show your support for these bands. Late to the Station, The Gray, Itchy Richie and the Burning Sensation, and our friend Kate Greathouse, a side-splitting comedian here from the local Fort Worth area. It's going to be a blast. And we're pulling out of all the stops. We've put everything into this we could think of. And the next one will be even better. But you won't know how much better the next one is if you don't see the first one. So come on out, Fort Worth Roots Podcast 100th episode party. It's going to be a blast. Pouring Glory, September 10th, 1 to 6. Be there. Just be there. And if you're playing the scavenger hunt game, the podcasts that are the podcasts that are going to be involved with the podcast scavenger hunt, it's probably you, the Funky Panther podcast, the Jerry Jonestown Massacre, The Failed Podcast, us, Fort Worth Roots, Emo Otaku Podcast. One day I'll get that down where I don't have to stutter every time I say it. Forever Reckless, Funky Town Podcast. Thanks for the Invite Podcast, Osos Colosos, and Fort Worth Famous. You remember what to do? You go to those podcasts, you listen to the episode where they talk about the upcoming event, and in the intro, they're going to give you a letter. You use that letter to string a series of letters together to make a code phrase. It's very simple. We're going to have tickets at the door. You'll put your name on the ticket, and we'll put it in the drawing. If you got the code phrase, you're up front. You'll be the first ones to be selected for a prize. Now, if you don't want to play this silly game, and I get that, because who's got time to play a silly game? I don't know that I would play a silly game. It doesn't matter. You don't have to, because the event is still free, and you can still put your name in the drawing. So, if we have 2 people that are going to play the scavenger hunt game, no problem. We still have things to give away for free. So, whenever you're coming through the door, if you don't have the scavenger hunt, you'll be put in a separate pile, and you'll be selected for prizes after we get done with the scavenger hunt participants. So, just because you don't play doesn't mean you're going to lose out anything. But if you do play, you're going to be first up to receive a prize, or possibly win a prize, maybe. Possibly. No guarantees. Don't sue me. But there are going to be prizes. I've got a few of them here in the office with me right now. I'm not going to tell you what they are yet because I'm waiting to get more cooler ones too. I want more awesome stuff. I want so many things to give away. So come on out. See what we have cooking. I'm going to be putting as much as I can into this all the way up to the last minute. So there are going to be things that I don't tell you about because I'm still working on them, okay? All right, cool. And there is a big reveal. I've decided that I'm going to go ahead and do a big reveal. What's it going to be? I don't know. You don't know either. So we'll just have to see. But it's going to be big. It's going to be about 9.5 feet tall. I think about 20 feet long. And you'll just have to come out and see it. Anyway, thank you for listening to this episode. Please listen to me. Do this. Go ahead and text Darren and just tell him, hey, you're my roofer now. And then save his number inside your phone so that whenever some dumb thing happens, whether it be a hailstorm, a massive tornado, high winds, whatever, you just look up and your ceiling is wet one day. You're going to need a roofer. It happens. We live in North Texas. Here's the number, 817-882-6520. And at the beginning of this episode, I told you he's going to give you 50% off for their little home roof inspection. This is excellent. This is a big savings, and you need to have this done periodically. I know we don't think about it until there's a big issue, but this might be the difference between keeping your roof alive for another year or two and having to replace it immediately. So don't let me scare you. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just saying, like, take care of your stuff, dude. Okay? Things last longer if you take care of them, and that's what Darren wants to do. He wants to come out, introduce himself, give you a little business card, just introduce himself, and then take a look at your roof. So, and because Darren's a good dude, and you are a good person because you listen to the Fort Worth Roots podcast, you get 50% off of that little roof inspection. Not bad. Not bad at all. Houk Walker Originals, houkwalker.com. You need something cool for your business? You want some custom stuff? Yeah, there's places you could go that do that, like Vistaprint and so on, but they're not a sponsor and they're not local. And one of the things that I'm doing with rounding up sponsors for the Fort Worth Roots podcast, I am trying to keep Fort Worth dollars in Fort Worth pockets. Shopping local, folks. It's the new cool thing to do. Anyway, check it out, houkwalker.com, and they got you covered. There's going to be something there that's going to impress the pants right off you, and you're going to have to take something home. Wood Post Metalworks, another one of the discount advertisers here on Fort Worth Roots, one of our sponsors. Wood Post Metalworks is offering you 10% off with code podcast817. We're just saving you money left and right. You need this stuff. You're going to have to buy gifts. You're going to have to buy new signage for your house. You're going to have to take care of your roof. You're going to need new marketing material for your company. These are all things that you need. And we got you covered right here, Fort Worth Roots. 10% off at Wood Post Metalworks with code podcast817. That's woodpostmetalworks.com. Why did I read those off twice? I don't know. Because I wanted to. I actually had a Darren contact me this week, and he's like, you don't have to talk about us every episode. I was like, well, Darren, look, we want more sponsors. We do. We really do. But right now, these are my sponsors. So we'll just fill that sponsorship block nonstop with the people that care about us the most right now. Roofing Solutions, Houk Walker Originals, and Wood Post Metalworks. Last time I'll say it this episode, September 10th, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. at Pouring Glory. Put it on your schedule, folks. If you're not coming out to support the Fort Worth Roots podcast community, if you're not coming out to support the Fort Worth Roots podcast, do it for these awesome artists that are going to be coming out to entertain you. Late to the Station, Itchy Richie and the Burning Sensations, The Gray, and Kate Greathouse. They're expecting you. And if you don't come, they'll be heartbroken. All right, folks, thank you very much again for listening to another episode of the Fort Worth Roots podcast. I will see you at the event September 10th, and I'll see you next week on the podcast. Thank you so much. Hope you're having a great week. Love you. Bye.